Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I hope you guys always happy and healthy as well. Okay, today we are from Group 5. We'll be presenting about creating data and application model. But the first thing, I want to say thanks to our lecturer of Accounting Information System, Ms. Zesti Putri. And I want to say thanks to you guys because you guys want to listen and appear in this class. Next, I will introduce my team. The first one is me. My name is Amelia as a moderator and presenter. And I'm not alone. I'm also with my friend Rafa, Tarisa, and Arya. I hope you guys can enjoy our presentation and let's get into it. Characteristic of the database approach. The database approach places emphasis on the integration and sharing of data within the organization. This approach requires a fundamental reorientation or shift in the thought process or paradigm change. Starting from manager at the highest rank to employees at the lowest rank. 1. How to view data. A database system is a collection of interconnected files where user-created programs can access and modify these files. Some levels of abstraction are: the first one is physical device, the second is logical device, and the third is user ranking. 2. Data model. There are two data models. The first one is Entity Relationship Model, or ERD. ERD is based on the assumption that the world consists of a collection of basic objects called entities, as well as a relationship between the entities themselves. Entities in the database are described based on their attributes. For example, student numbers. Student number differentiate one student from another, and these numbers are attributes of the student entity concerned. The second is a relational model. A relational model is a model that uses a number of tables to describe the data and the relationship between these data. Each table has a number of columns, each of which has a unique name. The relational model is an example of a record-based model. This model is so called because the database has a record structure in a certain format, each of which contains different types of data. 3. Database language. A database language is the database in the system provides a language for defining the database, namely DDL and DML, to perform certain operation on the database. The first one is DDL. DDL, or Data Definition Language, is a database schema usually defined with a set of definition expressed in a special language called DDL. The second is DML, or Data Manipulation Language. DML is a language that allows users to access or manipulate data in a relational type database system. Basically, there are two types of DML, namely procedural DML and declarative DML. Procedural DML, which requires the user to specify the required data and how to obtain that data. This can be done with programming languages that are capable of accessing database. Declarative DML, which requires user to specify the required data without having to specify how to get it. Specifying the storage structure and access method with DDL statement is called data storage and definition language. Stored data usually has a certain limitation.
Okay, so now it's mine and I will explain about database development. Okay, here we go first with the purpose of the database development system. The number one is number of data users. The data stored in the database must have a wide enough ability to realize the relationship between data items from many data files so that different users or application programs can use the same database. And second, safeguarding intellectual investment. New data can be added and integrated easily with the existing data, thus preserving the intellectual investment made earlier. And third, the cost reduction. So this relates to three things about storage costs, data usage costs, and the high cost of making change to the database. And the fourth is eliminate dual system development or proliferation. The development of new subsystem is done by referring to the same database so as to avoid double system development. Number 5 is about the performance. Information needs can be met quickly, precisely, easily, and accurately by sourcing data in the database so that it will have an impact on improving overall system performance. And the number 6 about clarity. Every user must be able to clearly know what data is available and accessible to them. Okay, and next is ease of use. So users can access the data in the database in easy ways using application programs and database management system. Then flexibility of use. The flexibility of how to access data from within the database is necessary in order to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of database performance. And easy change. The database change can occur due to change in system rule, change in field realities that affect the database, out-of-the-box change, or perhaps other change that cannot be anticipated. The database can change without affecting the ways to use the data. And number 10 is about accuracy and consistency. The system must provide a means of control to avoid the occurrence of multiple versions of data due to data capture and multiple users changing data at different times. And number 11 is about privacy. Restriction of data access authority in the database to prevent and protect the database from use by unauthorized or unauthorized person and unwanted alterations. And number 12 is about security. Database security is a physical or procedural system mechanism to prevent and protect database data loss due to damage. And the last is about availability. The application system for the database should be designed to be able to anticipate the needs of complete information with the maximum possible ease of data access. And next, we will talking about the process of performing database development. The process is number 1 is about goal setting. Objectives are set based on user and data parameters. The user determines the purpose of the application, while the data determines how this purpose can be achieved. And goals are expressed without constraint, such as immediate response, trustworthiness, and protection of personal freedom. And second is about the bindings. It is a measure of the degree of flexibility exercised to achieve efficiency in database design. These measures include file structure, database model, schema or relations, information retrieval, as well as data maintenance and database integrity. And third is about documentation. The forms that must be documented are the database schema, the relational database, and the variable definitions used. And the last is programming. The final implementation after the database design process is complete is to do the programming. So here we come with the steps in database system development. Considering the components involved in database system development is including our database files, software, hardware, and also personnel involved. So number one is requirement specification. So defining the problem and conducting a feasibility study are critical first step in finding a requirement specification, which involves understanding the problem to be solved, identifying possible solutions, analyzing the costs and benefits of each solution, and determining whether the project is worth pursuing. After that, the next step is to detail the specification, which is to define the requirements and features that the chosen solution should have. This will help develop a clear and structured project plan. And next is about evaluation of alternative. That is by looking at alternative indications, which is information that indicates the possibility of alternatives or other choices that can be taken. From the existing alternative selection is then carried out, which is the process of choosing the most suitable alternative or having the best value from several alternatives that have been found. Third, we're gonna design at this stage further details about hardware specifications and orders are made. Then the logical design of the program, data structure and procedure for users and operator is done. The user organization structure is also defined. And the last step is implementation. So the last stage is to install and test the hardware, namely by coding and testing program units and also converting data. Once ready for launch, the next step is to create procedure documents and also provide training to users. Previously, testing had also been carried out. Okay, so we're gonna move into the next subject. Is about creating a data model with ERD. So an entity relationship diagram, or ERD, is a documentation technique used to represent the relationship between entities. So what is entities? Entities are physical resources like automobiles, cash, or inventory, or it can be even like ordering inventory, shipping cash, or shipping goods, and it can be also an agent like salesperson, customer, or vendor, about which the organization wishes to capture data. One common use for ERD is to model an organizational database. Okay, so here we come with the ERD symbols. Figure above shows the symbol set used in an ERD. So the square symbols represents entity in the system. The label connecting line represents the nature of the relationship between two entities, and the degree of the relationship, called cardinality, is the numeric mapping between entity instances. A relationship in the ERD can be one-to-one, one-to-many, or it can be also many-to-many. So cardinality reflects normal business rule as well as organizational policy. For instance, the one-on-one cardinality in the first example in figure above suggests that each salesperson in the organization is assigned one automobile. If instead the organization's policy were to assign a single automobile to one or more salespersons who share it, this policy would be reflected by a one-to-many relationship. Similarly, the many-to-many relationship between vendor and inventory in figure above implies that the organization buys the same type of products from one or more vendors. A company policy to buy particular items from a single vendor would be reflected by a one-to-many cardinality.
The first material is about data structure relations, and then I will explain about definition of data structure relations. In computer science terms, data structure is a way of storing, organizing, and arranging data in computer storage media so that the data can be used efficiently. The second material is about function of data structure. Data structures help organize and store data so that it can be accessed and manipulated efficiently. Data structures facilitate operations such as searching, sorting, and storing information in computer programs. The third material is about application of data structures. Data structure can be applied to database processing, for example, for financial data purpose or for word processing, where the columns change dynamically. The fourth material is about form of data structure. Data structures can be seen in spreadsheet files, database, word processing, compressed image, and file compression with certain techniques that utilize data structures. And the last material is steps to form a data structure. The first one is organize data based on groups and patterns. The second one is reconstruct the structure into index and reference patterns.
Next topic is about database relational. A relational database is a collection of data items with predefined relationship. These various items are organized into a set of tables with columns and rows. Tables are used to store information about objects that will be represented in a database. Each column in a table contains a specific type of data, and fields store the actual values of attributes. Rows in a table represent collection of related values from a single object or entity. There are two types of attribute. The first one is primary key. Primary key is a database attribute or combination of attributes that specially identify particular row in a table. The second is foreign key. Foreign key is an attribute in a table that is also the primary key in another table, and it's used to connect two tables. Basic requirement for relational database. 1. Each column in a row must be single score. 2. The primary key cannot be null. 3. The foreign key, if not null, must have value that match with the primary key in another table. 4. All non-key attributes in the table must describe the characteristic of the object identity based on the primary key.
This is part of me, so check it out. Other data logical structure. In computer science terms, data structure is a way of storing, arranging data in a computer storage media so that the data can be used efficiently. The first is data type. Broadly speaking, data types can be categorized into three types: namely, first, basic data types or primitive data types. Basic data types or simple data types, are also known as primitive data types, are data types that already exist and are standards in certain programming language. The contents of this simple data type are single data. Basic data types are provided by the program so that programmers can use them directly. And the second is composite data type. Format data types or composite data types are data types that are formed from basic data types with the aim of making the programmer's work easier. Included in data type format are arrays, strings, records, unions, structs, and others. The purpose of creating the format data type is 1. Simplifies the programming process. Second, makes it easier to add variables, and the third, make it easier to group data so that it is more organized. And the third is abstract data type. Abstract data type or ADT is a concept in programming that is used to describe data types abstractly, regardless of their implementation. This ADT or abstract data type provides a high-level specification for a data type that defines the operation that can be performed on that data type, but does not state how to implement this operation. One example of a common ADT is stack, which is used to store the data in a stacked list in first out or LIFO order. The interface for ADT stack will include operations such as push or adding an item to the top of the stack, pop or removing an item from the top of the stack and is empty, or checking if the stack is empty. Implementation of the ADT stack can use array or linked list data structure. Basic data type or primitive data types have the content of the simple type or single data, such as one integer whole number. What is meant by integers is min1, min2, min3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and others. There are not is a fractional number. And second, float or double or real number. Real numbers are a number that contain decimal fraction. Example 3.45 and the others. And the third, char or character. Character are all letters in the alphabet. Function marks and special character. Characters are written between two single quotation marks. Example A. And the fourth is Boolean or logic. Boolean is a logical data type that consists of two true or false statements. True statements are usually written as true the number of 1, while false statements are written as false or the number 0. Meanwhile, the arithmetic operations that are commonly used are or, not, and COR. And the second is composite data type. Included in this type are arrays, string, record, union, struct, and others. The purpose of creating the format data type is simplifies the programming process. Second, make it easier to add variables. And the third, make it easier to group data so that it is more organized. If you ask what mean of arrays, strings, records, union, struct, and others, it means bahasa arrays is himpunan, string is rangkaian, records is catatan, unions is persatuan, and the struct is structure. And the last material is abstract data type. Example of abstract data types is one stack. What is stack? Stack in bahasa is susunan. But the mean is stack is a data structure that is formed from ordered rows of data units. In a stack, adding and deleting elements can only be done at one position, namely the end position of the stack. The position is called the top of the stack. And the second is queue. Queue in bahasa is barisan. The mean is a collection of data where adding elements can only be done at one end, or called the backside, and deleting or retrieving elements is done via the other end, or called the front side. And the third is what is list in bahasa? In bahasa, list is daftar, and the mean of the list is, according to the Indonesian translation of the English dictionary, list means log, table, schedule, and the others. The word list is used as noun and verb. The word list is often associated with lists and tables in writing. And the fourth is tree. What is tree? Yeah, is bahasa is pohon or pokok. A tree is a connected, undirected graph that does not contain circuits. Trees include nonlinear structure, which are defined as organized data from interconnected branch information item. And the fifth is graph. What is graph? Graph in bahasa is graphic. The mean is general type of data structure where the data arrangement is not close to each other or non-linear. A graph consists of a finite collection of nodes to store data, and between two nodes there is interconnected relationship. Okay, I will read the conclusion. The first important of data modeling. A good understanding of data modeling is essential in developing effective application or information system. With good data modeling, we can describe the relevant entities, relationship between entities, and the attributes needed to store and analyze data efficiently. Second, entity relationship diagram or ERD. ERD is a tool used to model the relationships between entities in a system. ERD help developers in clearly mapping a relationship between entities. Understanding the planned database structure and identifying relevant business rules. Third, define attributes and data types. In data modeling, we need to describe the attributes associated with each entity. This includes the appropriate data type, whether it is a string, number, date, or other data type. Defining the correct attribute and data type is critical in ensuring data accuracy and consistency. And the fourth, namely, database normalization. Normalization is the process of organizing data in the structure tables, thereby eliminating data anomalies and redundancy. With good normalization, we can optimize storage, space usage, and minimize the risk of error. And the last is define application, operation, and process. Apart from modeling the data, it is also important to model the operation and process that will be performed in the application. This includes defining the required function, workflow, algorithm, and user interaction. Modeling operation and process where we will help developer design and implement application that suit user needs. Maybe that's all I can say, more or less please, and thank you all.